Hi, I'm Jay Jones, Democrat running for Attorney General of Virginia, and we're going to talk about public safety. As the son of prosecutors and the father of two young boys, I've always believed that keeping our communities safe is the most important responsibility of any Virginia leader. That's why, as a delegate, I increased public safety funding by more than 20%, ensuring that law enforcement and our
What is good, Ghost Mafians? Welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast with your host, Mr. Ghost. Coming back at it, guys, with some facts and truth and putting it on the table. It is our job as followers of Jesus Christ to be the light bearers of this world. It is our job to expose the hypocrisy, to expose the lies, and to expose the evil within our fallen world. Jesus instructed us in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 14 through 16. We are told, "Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and giveth light unto all that are in the house." In verse 16, "Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." Ladies and gentlemen, that is our job as light bearers to do that. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the controversy with Jay Jones, the candidate for Democratic Attorney General of Virginia. We're going to go over the controversy, what he said, the text messages, a phone call conversation, as well as him committing a felony and getting away with it. This episode is going to be pretty crazy. Stay tuned throughout the entire episode. Also, guys, can you help us to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year? It'll be greatly appreciated by simply subscribing down below, hitting that bell notification to all, and guys, liking the video and sharing the video. Even in comment down below your take on this helps spread this out to more people in the algorithm, and I am very grateful for all my new subscribers, all my new listeners. Everybody has been tuning in. This has been a fun ride, and we are just beginning. But we are not going to waste any more time, guys. Let's go see what this guy has to say.
Hi, I'm Jay Jones, Democrat running for Attorney General of Virginia, and we're going to talk about public safety. As the son of prosecutors and the father of two young boys, I've always believed that keeping our communities safe is the most important responsibility of any Virginia leader. That's why, as a delegate, I increased public safety funding by more than 20%, ensuring that law enforcement and our first responders have the resources and training they need to succeed. I also sponsored bipartisan laws to strengthen penalties for sex offenders, keep kids safe in schools, and establish programs to stop gangs like MS-13 in their tracks. Then, as an assistant attorney general, I took on the gun lobby and helped get illegal guns off of our streets. And this week, I'm releasing my public safety plan. As Attorney General, I'll focus the office on stopping violent crime, supporting victims, and protecting our kids, not the MAGA extremism we're getting from Jason Miyares. Here's how we're going to do it. First, I'll combat violent crime by ensuring local law enforcement agencies can solve crimes and bring offenders to justice. We'll create a drug trafficking unit and work with our neighboring states to stop fentanyl trafficking. And we'll support community-based treatment and crisis response programs so people who need help get the treatment they need instead of ending up in jail. Next, I'll get illegal guns off of our streets by increasing interagency cooperation to target illegal guns. We'll hold gun manufacturers accountable for the damage their weapons cause and use settlement money and other federal resources to expand violence interruption programs that actually target the root causes of gun violence. Finally, I'll make the Attorney General's office a leader in protecting Virginia's children. I'll boost resources to fight domestic violence and child abuse, step up efforts to fight trafficking, and crack down on the social media companies violating privacy laws and taking advantage of our kids to increase their profits. My North Star is creating safer communities for my kids and for yours. And as Virginia's next Attorney General, I'm ready to deliver just that.
All right, guys, have that make sense down below. How does this guy even think it's logical to be a top cop, but you're fantasizing about the death of children, your opponent taking 2 bullets, you're fantasizing about cops being killed in order to stop police violence towards criminals, which my whole narrative about that is if you pull a gun on a cop or you break the law and you pull any weapon on a cop, you're effing around to find out. I know this is very stark. I'm putting it out there. We all make mistakes, but sometimes these mistakes can cost us our lives. And that's just, it's the hard facts about life, right? But this guy wants to be top cop in Virginia and think it's okay to talk like this, think it's okay to push this type of rhetoric. And I love how he's telling us, telling Virginians that he wants to go after MS-13. He wants to get illegal guns off the street, getting drugs off the street, which is all good things. We want that stuff off the street, right? But it's false rhetoric when you're talking the way you were and probably still are. There's more to come to light. I think you're a bullshitter. Try not to swear here. I'm really not. But I'm just being honest. The BS stinks. I don't take one word that you say literally. Because you talk the talk. It all sounds good to the ears. But you don't walk the walk, do you, Mr. Jones? Understand one thing. The stuff that you supposedly want to do is the same thing Republicans are doing now. They are literally going after MS-13, Venezuelan gangs. They're getting the drugs off the street. They're stopping human trafficking. They're fighting to get illegal guns off the street. But yet, your side of the aisle, the Democrats, are fighting this tooth and nail. You guys love criminals. You guys love the illegals. You guys love a lawless society. You like the idea of social chaos because it fits your narrative to grab more power. But you never anticipated that not every American is an idiot. Even people in your own party are waking up and be like, yo, this is not what we're for. And they're leaving in droves, becoming independents. Some are becoming Republicans. But we're going to dive into his X account, a.k.a. Twitter. We're going to go look what he has to say on there, just his top part. It's pretty laughable, to say the least. And we're going to go through several posts that have been put up there and why I believe the Democratic Party needs to be, how can I say this in like the quickest terms, has to be completely eliminated. We need to fire all of them. They all got to be fired. Every Democrat that has incited violence against the American people, has incited an insurrection against the American people, they need to be dealt with. Fired. Put them in the unemployment line. Let's dive into this, guys. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's look at Mr. J. Jones here. Charles and Zachary's father, Mavis's husband, running for the Attorney General of Virginia. He wants to keep them and all families safe and free. But are you the same guy that has sent this text message out in 2022? Now, I'm going to read this from top to bottom. I don't think this is in order, but regardless, let's get to the context of it. They say nice things about everyone, LOL. If those guys die before me, I'll go to their funerals on their graves, send them all a wash and something. J. Jones, 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Mustache Man, Pol Pot. Let me know down below who that person is or what that is. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Right there is the threat, ladies and gentlemen. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. You weren't simply asking questions, and you know it. I generally was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping that Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. Yeah. Move on policy, huh, my guy? Move on policy. So you threatening the life of those children. That is not moving on policy. That, my friend, is a crime within itself. We'll touch that within a second of what particular crime he can be charged with. You want to be the top law dog. You want to be the top cop within Virginia. And here you are pretty much threatening to murder your opponent. Threatened to murder a colleague. Threatened to murder his children while the wife watches. You, my guy, is a vile garbage. You are evil. those who watch this in Virginia, open your eyes to who you are electing to your offices. And I've noticed that the Democratic Party has been the party of this type of rhetoric, right? They've been pushing this narrative that those who support Trump, those who are Republican, regular conservatives, even those that don't even vote for Trump, are all Nazis, that they're all fascists, they're all white supremacists. They are essentially the threat to our existence, is what they're telling everybody. And granted, yes, you're going to get a lot of people who are going to hear that rhetoric. They're like, yeah, okay, whatever, and they're going to move on with their day. But there are lunatic people in our society who hears that stuff and they want to do something about it, and they commit violence because of it. You know, think about it. Over the past, 6 months, we've been listening to the rhetoric that ICE are casapos. We're hearing it from the governor of California all the way to the governor of Illinois. Top-ranking politicians throwing out the same rhetoric that ICE is casapo, and now we're seeing a significant rise in threats against ICE. We're seeing riots throughout our cities, their ICE facilities. We just witnessed a lady in my last episode ram her vehicle into an ICE vehicle, and she took a few rounds, so she effed around and found out very quickly. It is the rhetoric of the left that wants social chaos. They don't want peace. They hate this country, apparently, because they are trying to divide people and fill in the rhetoric into the minds of the mentally ill. But yet this guy claims in his campaign video that he wants to be hard on crime, go after MS-13, go after all these gangs. But yet that's what Trump's doing. That's what the Republicans have been doing. We've been trying to make this country safer while your side of the aisle has been hiding behind screens and hiding behind picket signs, hiding behind your own mask, screaming that we are the enemy. I just don't understand. Let's go look at what else he's done.
On a dangerous stretch of I-64, Jay Jones pushed the needle to 116 miles an hour. That puts regular Virginians in jail. But Jay Jones is a politician. He got off. Jay Jones's punishment for endangering lives? Community service. And he served himself. Jay Jones counted work for his political committee to avoid jail. Jay Jones is too soft on crime, like his own.
I'm Jason Miares, candidate for Attorney General, and I sponsored this ad.
So yeah, guys, have that make sense. The guy literally commits a crime, a reckless driving, 116 miles an hour, and he gets a slap on the hand. When average people in Virginia will go to jail for up to a year. Why does the Democratic Party is so weak on crime? I remember when the Clintons got into power in the mid-90s, they cracked down hard on crime. It is completely different these days. The Democratic Party is the party of, we love the criminals. They're the party of free the illegal immigrants, let them ruin our society. They're the party of anarchy. They're the party of Antifa, the party of political violence. We have seen it over and over and over again. The rhetoric from the left has been nothing but violence against their opponent. Do you know what type of political system that this reminds me of? Socialism, communism. They threaten their opponents. They off their opponents. The Democratic Party is not the same party I registered under back when I was 18. It is not the same party. It is extremely full of lunatics. I don't know how people are electing people into power. I'm not sure if they're doing their due diligence and studying these people, or is the rhetoric so good, their talk is so good, they're able to convince average day Americans that, yeah, you know, this is a good guy. My whole stick is this. If you walk the walk, you got to talk the talk. Even if you talk a good talk, you got to be able to walk it. You got to be able to put action down on paper. You know what I'm saying? We all could say good things. We all could sit there and speak our tongues, but our action speaks louder than those, speaks louder than words. So if your action is not showing that you're tough on crime, your action is showing the complete opposite. For example, his action is reckless driving. His action is threatening children and his opponents. His action is threatening law enforcement and fantasizing about harm to law enforcement. That action is telling me that you're full of it. You're not speaking the truth. You're just trying to get into power. It's evil. A lot of these people have evil tendencies, and they lost their humanity. There's no doubt about that. You will look at the rhetoric. It's definitely 100% no humanity there. No real person with some sense of humanity would talk like this, would act like this. Thugs do. Criminals do. Straight facts. Now let's go dive deeper into what else is on the Twitter, aka X, on this individual. So, ladies and gentlemen, J. Jones' text constitutes a Class A felony in the state of Virginia, where threats of death or bodily injury to a person or a member of his family, threats of death or discharge of a firearm on school property, threats of death or bodily injury to healthcare providers, penalties. A1. Any person who is knowingly communicates in writing, including an electronical transmitted communication, producing a visible electronic message, including an email, text message, or a post on any social media platform, a threat to kill or do bodily harm to a person, regardless of whether that person who is the subject of the threat actually receives the threat, and the threat places such person is the object of the threat or any member of his family in reasonable apprehension of death or bodily injury to himself or to his family, or his family member is guilty of a Class 6 felony. So once again, you are seeing a Democrat threaten violence. You know, you've seen this guy with his rhetoric. There's more to those text messages, which I'll show you in a second. And you'll be shocked to read the entirety of the conversation, because it will be jaw-dropping that this individual talks this way, but yet he wants to be the top law dog. And you'll see a picture of the family that he wishes to harm. But it is a Class 6 felony. We got to stop being soft on crime and start holding these people accountable. Lock them up. They break the law. I don't care if you're Republican, if you're Democrat. I don't even care if you're a politician or a regular civilian. You break the law, you're going to jail. See, the problem is when you start getting soft on crime, right, and you're starting to be a little weak on crime, criminals get brazen. Because when they realize that you're not going to punish them to the full extent of the law, they're going to take that within their advantage, and they're going to commit as much crime as possible. Social chaos, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the Democratic Party is breeding, and it's pure evil. This man has lost his humanity. Let's look at the family that he wishes harm upon. This young gentleman, his two wonderful children, I think that's the wife being sworn in as the Attorney General. These are the other text messages. We're going to take a look at this. What? Hence the glowing tributes from the R's? Damn, that was for Mark. Sorry, Charlie. No worries. Talking about Joe Johnson, AD, but basically an R. Leaked everything to your caucus. It's why Gilbert gave him such a glowing tribute. I knew what you were talking about. Served with my dad, who had nice words with a little choice sprinkled in. I didn't look at that. I just saw a guy died and assumed you'd have words. He was a D. Not sure what that means. I'm assuming not good. They say nice things about everyone. LOL. If those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals on their graves. Send them out awash in something. J. Jones. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, mustache man. Still don't know who that is. Let me know down below or what that is. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler. Put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Jay, please stop. LOL. Okay. It really bothers me when you talk about hurting people and wishing death on them. So now it's getting juicy because now we're getting the full context of the conversation. Earlier on in our conversation, we didn't really have the full context. You weren't simply asking questions, and you know it. I generally was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. There isn't. I point blank asked you more than 3 times, and you dug in that you meant it. I honestly am questioning a lot today. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm not going to lie. This boils my blood that this coward, this worthless coward, okay, is sitting here with this rhetoric. It is this rhetoric that has gotten people killed. You have to lose your humanity to talk like this. See, guys, when you live in sin for so long, right, and you just you bathe in it, you're living for the world because the world's loving you back. You're not of God. You're not of godly values. You're not of Christ. There is no humanity in there. Because no true follower of Jesus Christ talks like this. No true Christian talks like this. No true man of God talks like this. These are words of evil. These are words of sinister behavior, of sinister evil demons that lurks in the minds of individuals like this. You know, that is the full context of what is being said. You know, people are calling him a demon, that he is fantasizing about the death of people's children. You know, there's words that Abigail Spanberger is standing by Jay Jones after he was exposed for saying maybe if a few cops died, they'll stop shooting people. Apparently in a phone call back in 2020, that he stated a few police officers dying would stop them from killing other people. Well, I hate to burst your bubble there, Mr. J. Jones. Cops are not just randomly up and pow-pow to strangers. Usually when they're in a life-threatening situation with a criminal that either points a gun at them or some kind of weapon, officers take charge. It is rhetoric like this why you cannot be the top dog of law enforcement in that state or any state or even in the country. Because you inherently are an evil man with no humanity, and you are inherently a criminal. You shall not pass. I don't know how this guy passed the bar exam, to be honest. Now, when you want to talk about the Democratic Party, take a look at this. Quick history. Who did it? Killed Lincoln, a Democrat. Killed JFK, Democrat. Killed MLK, Democrat. Who created the KKK, Democrat. Oh, sorry, Democrats. Who lynched, Democrats. Segregation, Democrats. Jim Crow laws, Democrats. Internment camps, Democrats. Confederacy, Democrats. Charlie Kirk, Democrats. It's just a quick history for you guys. Okay? I just can't wrap my head around this. The Daily Wire's talking about this. Virginia Dems say our democracy depends on voting for a candidate who fantasized about assassination. Lincoln said it the best. Nations do not die from invasion. They die from internal rottenness. There is a rottenness. There's a poison in our society today within the United States of America. And it is the Democratic Party. For over 150 years, they've been on this warpath of the destruction of the United States of America. We have watched it time and time again for over 150 years. Because they lost the Civil War, this is their agenda. It might have always been. The easiest way for a country to fall, for a house to collapse, is for it to be divided. Is to have this rottenness in our country. Now, how can I sit there and say there is a rottenness within our country? This is some old footage, 10 minutes worth. We won't play all of it.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
I didn't say that. I wasn't going to play all of it for you guys because it's a lot of rhetoric, like 10 minutes worth, and I don't want to give it more of a platform that it already has. They claim that we are the fascists. They claim that we are the Nazis. We are the dictators. We are the bad guys. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, did you see riots? Did you see violence, call for violence towards the left? No. You saw prayer visuals. You saw a revival. You saw people gathering and mourning. Candlelight visuals. We are not the same. As I said, there is a rottenness in our society, and it is evil. Because they do got a leader of the Democratic Party, and it is Satan himself. And that's why you're seeing a lot of centrist and moderate Democrats are leaving the party in droves. Because these are people who have values, who have humanity. And I think by the time this is all done and said, that we're only going to see the far left lunatics left within the Democratic Party. They can't regain power at all. Because I think the second you allow these lunatics power, they will literally drive this country into its grave. Pray for your enemies. Pray for this country. Pray for every American out there that people open their eyes and see evil for what it is. To see evil where it stands. The rhetoric has been going on for far too long. And it's about time every good American speaks up and votes these people out of office. Stripping them of their power and putting Christ first in this country is the only way to save it. Thank you guys so much. God bless you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, bell notification, and comment down below. Give me your take on this situation, on this controversy. I want to hear from you guys. Have it make sense for me. Comment down below. I love you all, and I'll catch you in the next episode.